Paltrocast.
You doing, Darren?
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing great. Are you two doing great aside from doing media? Because, let's face it, a lot of artists don't love doing Q&As.
Well,
Well,
we think it's good for the cause, so no
it
problem.
is. No problem. How are you? You're
Well,
busy.
Hey, somebody's got to be busy, not just me. You two, you're going on tour with Honeymoon Suite. How long did you have to keep it a secret that tour was in the works?
Well, it's a matter of putting it together because there's so many, details to attend to, and our manager Joe, who has promoted a lot of concert, he's promoting this little run that we're going to do soon. So it's not like we're being hired by a promoter to do a bunch of things. It's but we feel great about it. That they're a great band.
Yeah, we're happy about that.
For sure. I see one of the dates is Fredericton, where I'm going to be next month for Harvest Music Festival. Is that a festival that the Kings ever played?
We haven't been out east in years because we've been west a lot of times in Canada, but not that much down east, and so we're looking forward to that coming up in October, I think,
Or November or something. Yeah.
Got it.
We've been to Halifax and that kind of stuff, but no, haven't been to New Brunswick playing. We want to, for sure, and Newfoundland.
Yeah, it's good to see that you're making the rounds on this one. So when the people see you on these upcoming dates with Honeymoon Suite, is it kind of a greatest hits, or is it greatest hits plus 2 new songs, that kind of approach?
Well, it's going to be the greatest hits, and we're promoting. I think half of our show is going to be off the new album, The Longest Story Ever Told, and because there's lots of fun songs, we want people to have a good time. That's what we're there for. It's what we're known for, And so, but Switching the Glide, thank God for that song. Zero and I, we always say, thank God for that song. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean that song has generations of appeal thanks to its baseball crossover in the States. The Brewers and the Cubs, I believe, have both embraced it at different periods. Were the hits the same for the Kings in the States as Canada?
And our friend lived in New York. He used to hear it at Yankee Stadium all the time too, which is and hockey games. We got invited down to a Buffalo Sabres game because they play it there all the time.
Yeah.
So that was.
And it was a Tim Horton special night. They had Tim Horton cups floating down from the gallery and playing Switching the Glide all at the same time. It was pretty wacky.
Wow. Well, any idea how the sports crossover happened for your band?
Probably just radio play, and some of these guys that do that for these stadiums just thought it would be good between plays, which is how they do it generally, right? And
get your feet stamping and stuff, right?
So if they go to commercial, you hear it going into the commercial, then when they come out of commercial, you hear it
it's still going
for a few seconds or something.
True. But different genres are popular in different areas. I had the pleasure last year of going to a baseball game in Mexico, and not only is it between innings and every at bat, it's between every pitch they play music. And there's pretty much no rock music. But when you go to certain Mets games, I think you were just singing Taking Care of Business by BTO. That's a big baseball song as well. And you have to wonder, are there secret Canadians working the DJ booths? Is that what it is?
Well, they also played it at Madison Square Garden too, because we've been at Ranger games because people told us about that as well. So, I mean, they don't pay you for it though.
And the Bears, Chicago Bears, I think something. But you don't really get much remuneration in the mail from them. That's for sure. Not like the ball players get.
You do get paid once you complain to ASCAP or BMI or SOCAN when you have video of it and go, see, it was played. You file it, then you get paid. So hopefully the Kings do that and get paid. But hey, back to you and your success and all that. It's amazing some of the things that you've done, not just the hits and the touring, but you were working with Bob Ezrin before. It was super cool to work with Bob Ezrin, right?
Well, he had a huge reputation, and we got onto when he just finished with Pink Floyd, he came back to Toronto, and he was actually scouting bands, and we were lucky enough to be on. He came to the studio and kind of liked what we were doing, so we kind of won out over whoever else he was looking at. And so that was fortuitous, let's say. You know, I mean, he'd already done Alice Cooper and Kiss.
Louis, and a bunch of stuff.
So,
but we were recording in his old haunt, Nimbus 9 Studios in Toronto, where he worked with
Jack
Richardson, who did the Guess Who and a bunch of other huge Canadian bands. And so Bob had just come back from England after doing The Wall, and we were luckily enough to be there in the middle of the night, spending our last few pennies recording an album. Bob heard a bit of Switching the Glide. He said, "Can I take this home and listen?" And he played it for his kids, and he came back the next day. The kids like it. Let's do something. That's basically how it happened.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's fantastic. Another producer from that era, Tom Werman. I heard a rumor that the way that he dictated whether or not something sounded good or not was he had 2 bad car speakers on the studio wall, and he would mix through that and listen and go, "Does this sound good?" through bad car speakers. That's his approach. Ezrin is to the kids like it. Wow, producers.
He had those in the studio as well, though. When he was mixing, he had an old radio thing sitting there. An
old Beach radio. They take you carry to a single mono channel thing, plug it into the board, and play it through that. Same deal. If it sounds good, it's going to be good.
Wow. Okay, so going back here, there's the honeymoon suite dates. There's the date that you're doing with April 1 and Tom Cochran. There's the new music. Are the Kings fully back, or is it still like weekend warrior kind of stuff for the band?
Well, we never stopped playing and recording and writing and all that. So, I mean, we've been keeping going, but I think the difference is that we've got a manager now, Joe Bamford, and he's not afraid of getting on the phone and talking to all these people that they don't want to talk to us. They never want to talk to the band, you know. So
other way around, they do want to talk to the band, but the second that numbers come into the equation, negotiations happen. That's how you burn all the bridges as the musician.
Well, yeah, I mean, they think we're children, so
the last thing we want to do is fiddle around with numbers, except big ones. How do you like our towel? Our beach towel. That's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, of course. The merchandising game is totally.
That's right. We're playing the game now too. We didn't really for the longest time, and but this is pretty cool. People liking this thing.
But as far as the weekend warrior thing, I think a lot of bands don't tour, you know, anymore or that much, because a lot of gigs are fly-in shows.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, if you're some of the big, especially in the States, because there's a million gigs down there, and so you can tour, especially the country acts, I think tour a lot. But a lot of it in our, you know, even Loverboy, they play fly-in gigs. You know, they don't really tour anymore, I don't think.
They're currently doing a US run where they're opening up Foreigner, but I agree, they're mostly casino festival things for weekends, and that's a point of curiosity for me. I was talking to the guitarist of Warrant, and I said, when did Warrant become one of those weekend kind of bands as opposed to you know, hey, we're going to be on the road for 3 months? And they said it was when they were on the road playing a gig with Blue Oyster Cult, and they learned it from Blue Oyster Cult, where they realized that the touring didn't make sense. So how did you guys learn, hey, the 3-month tour thing doesn't work?
Well, last time we went across Canada, it was just it didn't make money. And so if we can up our profile and get into the good books of some more of these promoters and stuff, then we could string together some shows, and it might make sense to go out. But we're happy to get any gigs these days, because it has been slow, especially COVID really killed it, you know, for a lot of bands, which was 2 years out of your life. But we were in the studio making this new album.
Yeah, the new album.
And here's what it looks like.
Okay, so you got that, you got the towel. How many t-shirts designs do you have?
We got t-shirts.
We got t-shirts. We got hats. We got underwear.
We got golf. We don't have underwear. We got golf shirts.
Is a lot of your catalog available on vinyl, or is it just the longest story ever told that's available on vinyl right now?
This is coming out in a couple weeks, and yeah, we were talking about it because it's the first vinyl we've had since
Yes.
'84 or something like that. Because we didn't after that time we didn't really make a record till '92, and the CD era was upon us.
Yeah.
And of course, it was the latest, greatest thing. And now people want vinyl, whether they play it or not, or whether they just want it for the souvenir aspect of it.
Like our towel.
And it's cooler to have autographed than the CD.
Yeah, it's bigger.
And you got all the lyrics. It has lyrics and more pictures, more fun. You can, roll things on it and whatever you're doing. Remember the old days? Jeez, that's what
He doesn't remember that.
I remember that. Don't you worry. I'm one of those people that read the liner notes to know who co-wrote the songs and who produced them. And that's why, I can tell you who Josh Freese was 20 years before he joined the Foo Fighters. But but back to you guys and everything that's going on. When did you kind of realize that you were lifers, that it wasn't dependent on hits?
But we like writing good songs. Zero and I have been working together for many years, and we've written lots of bad songs, or not totally bad, but songs that didn't, they just ended up on the shelf. Yeah. Other songs just come out like most songwriters do. It's great right off the bat, and being satisfied with your product is really important for us. I think we're not just going to turn something out that we're not happy with.
And you really can't let the ins and outs and ups and downs of the music business dictate your love for music and your ability to create it.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows the business is, what it is.
It's different now than it was 20, even 10 years ago.
But, we did pretty well up against some stiff competition back in the day, and we feel very proud of that.
Yeah.
And we got
that stiff competition line a dig at Cheap Trick?
No, they're great. I mean, seen them many times.
Yeah. Hollywood used to do their songs playing live in the old days.
Yeah. Surrender.
Right. Surrender, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Well, some people have gone, hey, these guys are the Canadian Cheap Trick, but I might say that they're the American The Kings.
Wow.
Yeah, right on. I like that.
I mean, we have a keyboard player, which I think is a total difference in the sound, but I think that the fact that we both have great lead singers is the thing that carries both bands.
Of course, beautiful, beautiful male lead singers, to say the least. But is your group still based in Vancouver these days?
No, we're just outside of Toronto.
Yeah, in the GTA, so to speak.
Greater Toronto area, they call it now. But
that was that's how it sort of formed. Him and Zero and Sonny were staying out there, or living out there for the time being. The drummer Max and I were here in Oakville, Ontario. Mm-hmm. And so we flew out there, did our first demos in BC, and then basically we've just been operating out of Toronto ever since. So
it's incredible. The reason that I'm obsessed with Vancouver, BC, in terms of music, is I think it is the most influential area for rock music in the history of rock music that nobody talks about, because of all the Bob Rock, Fairbairn things that happened out there, and all the Loverboy related stuff that happened out there, which is one of my theories, that Loverboy is the heaviest band that nobody realizes is a heavy band, because without them, there would be no Bob Rock working with Metallica.
It's true. And I think Bruce Allen is a big part of that picture, right? Because he was a big time manager that wasn't afraid of dealing with the American market. And
he still has the Offspring, still very active with the Live Nation tours.
Right. So I think that his attitude and total support of his bands was the key to that. But Vancouver, especially Little Mountain Sound and Mushroom, that where Heart came out of. When I lived in Vancouver back then, I saw Heart in the bars, and I remember one time on a Halloween, it was they have these mushrooms that are weird out there, and so
it was mushrooming.
Yeah, a little bit, and they there was a gorilla dancing with Marie Antoinette or something, and you're sort of digging on that kind of thing. And it's a good Halloween party, and Hart was playing Led Zeppelin, so it was you know, and I actually thought, I remember thinking to myself long before, I mean, we hadn't even started working with Sonny, but they, I thought if they had any original tunes, they could maybe get somewhere, because Ann was a great singer and Nancy was just hot, you know, and so they had a lot of potential, and obviously they did it. And no, everybody thought they were from there, but they're Americans from Seattle, I think.
Exactly. Well, my last question is kind of a stupid one, but it's intended to be a compliment right here. And digging through Spotify, I found this kind of Leftovers album that you put out a couple of years ago that had a Peter Frampton cover out of nowhere, and Squeezebox, and what a great cover band you guys are. Do you ever do covers only sets?
Not really anymore. Although our version of, you can find our version of California Girls, which is really great. It was going to be on our second album,
Amazon Beach, but it didn't make it.
It didn't make it because everything got so messed up in the studio.
But yeah, no, we don't do any covers. I mean, we would have done that one, California Girls, and When I Was Young by the Animals. We got great versions of them. They're on
our Heatwave.
We played live at Heatwave. We played them there. That was the last time, pretty much.
But
California Girls cover before David Lee Roth did it.
Yeah, just before
way better.
It's King style. It's got some punch to it.
I mean, the thing with us in covers, we never learn anything note for note. I personally have got a lousy ear. I can't learn a guitar solo. So we really just did it our own way.
I like arranging things so that they're upside down and backwards, but still the same and really great. You know, that's the way it should be. If you're going to do a cover song, you might as well flip the covers, right?
And then one of the reasons also was because I remember seeing a band. We did a little tour with this band. No point in mentioning their name, out in Western Canada, Canadian band from Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of every show, the singer was kind of tired out, and so they let the bass player do the encore, and he'd come out and sing Police covers. And so this was their encore, and I remember thinking, they're going to go home singing the Police, not the band that they're in.
The crowd's going to go home singing
So
the Police.
So if we end the night with California Girls, that's what they're going to go home singing instead of switching to Glide. So, you know, we kind of have a rule with Standby having no covers. You know, we just do our own stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, when you have enough hits to justify that, bless you on that end.
We played Switching to Glide two times a night, many times over our career. That's for sure.
That's not the worst I've heard. I've heard OMD doing If You Leave 3 times in a night.
Wow.
Once you do it 3 times, then we can make fun of you. 2 times, that's just the British style encore, right?
That's
right. We did it in the bars because we'd finish the first set with it, and then the encore at the end of the night we would do it because people are drunk and they'd have a lot of fun.
I get people all up on stage with us singing and falling over and into the drums. It was a big mess. It was great though.
Well, as long as I don't have to clean it up. But hey,
yeah, for sure.
Thank you for the many years of great music. Hope to see you live in New York. But in the meantime, congrats on the new album and looking forward to whatever is coming next.
Yes.
And we just played in New York a couple of weeks before the pandemic hit. We played at the
Electric
Room,
the Bowery Electric.
Bowery Electric.
Oh, Bowery, Jesse Mallon's club. Got it.
Yeah, and
it was January, just before COVID. January of 2020.
Yeah, and then I mean, you know, we just had a limited way to advertise this on Facebook and stuff, but we had, you know, people coming out of the woodwork, which was very gratifying for us because it was a lot of years, you know.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
Come back.
Come back. Darren, thank you so much. We appreciate you having a chat with you.
Paltrocast.